found TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. In just a few minutes, we'll be right with you with another award-winning, action-packed edition of your Tony Basilio Show. You found Radio Free Tennessee. Your Tony Basilio Show will begin momentarily. Keep it locked in right here at TonyBasilio.com and on your Tony Basilio app. And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word. Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Turn this thing up about 30 notches, shall we? Josh Heupel's meeting at the press today. He will be, no question, scintillating, fun, incredible, a great date today. We will not be on the air documenting it. I've got to get out of here because I've got an appointment today. So, because there is business beside what we do. In fact, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We dropped a video yesterday. I want to get Dixon in. I want to do a baseball-only video with Matt Dixon regarding the state of play with Tennessee coming out of the draft. But at any rate, we ought to get Kendall Rogers at some point back on as well once this thing calms down. Tony Vitello is going to join us on Thursday, but it's a woolly. Today is a woolly, and I do mean woolly, boys and girls. It is a woolly Tuesday. Matt Dixon, are you feeling as woolly as Brian Hartman today? And the young fella from Nashville who's got our offensive line. We don't have offensive line woes, Matt. We've got an offensive line that's ready to dominate in the SEC. Are you joining them? Are you drinking from the font of woolliness today, Matt Dixon?
Not quite there yet, but I do think there's a really good chance that the offensive line is better this year than it was last year, especially in pass protection. But no, I think the drop off, despite losing 4 starters, might not be significant at all, which would be a really good thing for the program. I mean, you're going to run the ball really well.
Yes.
Pass protection was an issue last year, I thought, especially with your tackles.
Yes.
So we'll see. I mean, it's hard to envision them being worse in pass pro, but so I do think there is optimism there, despite having to replace a bunch of guys.
Well, Lance Hurd last year, and today Sam in Nashville, who you hear on the show. Last week he called in, and he had optimism and the reasons why. And I asked him, hey, man, if you'll put that on paper, I'll be glad to run that as part of our Tuesday coverage for the SEC Media Days. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we did. And he made a great contribution today. In fact, today over at tclub.team, if you check out our blog, it's about 2,800 words, and I said about 5 of them. Brian Hartman reigns supreme. Brian Hartman talks about the upcoming Florida series. Brian, your belief is that it being in November, because here we are, it's SEC Media Days, Tennessee's meeting the depressed, and your belief, Brian, is that Tennessee is greatly aided, Bri, by the fact that of when the game takes place. Talk to me.
Yeah, everyone looks at that series and just assumes that it always favors Florida regardless. And if you go back and look at when that game has been played late in the season, I'm talking either November or December.
Yes.
Tennessee has a 7-3 record all time. Now, you have to go back decades.
Yep.
But one of those 7 wins occurred in sort of the modern era where in 2001, the game it took a national tragedy, but it was moved to December. I guess it was December 1st or 2nd.
Yes.
And made up then. And it turned out it was for the SEC East. And Florida was a 17-point favorite in their building. Steve Spurrier was still the coach, and the Volunteers went down there and won the game, sort of won it decisively, even though the final score was only 34-32. But the only losses were the COVID year where you had Pruitt coaching, and then the Tricky Dicky Bowl game, and another loss occurred back in the 50s. So if the game is played in Gainesville all time, Tennessee is 3-0 in that situation.
See, when you erase Tricky Dicky, you erase World War I, and what was the other one, Bri? And you erase
the COVID season.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if somebody wants to capitulate and roll over in the fetal position at the thought of Florida, go ahead. But there's really no reason to, because
Brian's coming out slugging today.
When Spurrier's not there, or when Tebow's not under center, they're about the same as Tennessee all time.
Brian's coming out slugging, and they're white trash. So, Matt, yesterday we were asked, and I'm going to ask you, very interesting question from the caller Richie, who's another excellent caller that we have. He's called us a couple shows in a row, which, Richie, anytime you call in, it makes for great material. So thank you to you. And shout out to Sam in Nashville. Please keep blogging. We love it. Richie asked Matt, and I'm going to ask the listeners this today, in honor of SEC Media Day, in honor of Tennessee going today, and considering Tennessee's place in the new Southeastern Conference. Because, look, the one thing that we've learned is that the more things change, the more they stay the same, but the more things stay the same, the more they change. And they got to reimagine this league because they've got too many teams in it, all these leagues. And scheduling really becomes a pain in the rump. So here's the question. Matt, pick one. You get to keep a permanent opponent between Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Pick one, Matt. I'm going to let you keep a permanent opponent between Georgia and Florida. Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Matt, where are you?
Vandy.
All right. Why?
In-state. It just makes more sense to be Vandy. Even though both of them are wins, 90-95% of the time. Right. When your program's, doing, on the up and up.
Georgia or the white trash hillbilly Yankee rednecks from Gainesville, the all mixed up quartet, Roger Williams. Where you going?
Georgia.
Why?
It's just a more natural rivalry. Historically, the games have been better. I don't think Florida adds anything to the league.
I agree with that.
I wish you could ship them to the ACC.
I agree with that.
It's not a fun place to go.
Nope.
The fans, like as we've talked about it, and it's well documented, just trashy fans that make it a miserable experience if you go down there.
Yep.
Every time you go, it's 95 degrees.
Yep.
Florida doesn't provide anything.
No offense. We're not trying to.
No offense to them.
No, I mean, if you're a Florida fan and you're listening, we're not calling you per se because I don't know you. For instance, like the caller Florida, I love the caller Florida. I don't consider him white trash. And I know some Florida fans. You know some Florida. They're good, I mean, I almost said they're good people. I don't want to lie today. It's Tuesday. I don't want to, kind of begin the Tuesday show, fibbing to you. But here's the truth. Matt just said it. They don't add anything. And there's also a side to football, Matt, where it's an aesthetically appealing game, It, like the uniforms, the helmets matter. Florida's uniform, Matt, is even gaudy looking and stupid looking. Aside from the games just being not very pleasing, Matt, I don't get the same feeling when I see Tennessee and Florida kick off as I do when I watch Tennessee and Georgia play. And I don't know why that is. Because both teams, if you look at it through history, were non-common opponents until we had the divisional split in 92. Both teams basically came on the schedule annually at that point in time. Both teams, therefore, have equal claim. But I'm with Matt. Georgia feels, and that was my first blush yesterday, so I ask you. One of the things we'll throw around today. And then what would you like to add to Woolly Tuesday because Josh Heupel's going to go today, and he's going to say nothing. No offense to him. Probably 3 or 4 times and then get out of there. Do you think Josh Heupel makes any news today, Matt, with anything that he says? Yes or no? What's your guess?
Absolutely not. No. No, he'll have a prepared answer for the obvious Nico question.
Yes.
And then he will might not even use players' names when he talks about how the generic football team that he has.
See, I agree with that.
Most of the coaches go down there and do that. That's why the thing's meaningless now.
That's exactly right.
It's an SEC network production.
Yep.
The info, you don't get any info, whereas you used to be able to before social media. It was a worthwhile deal.
Yes.
But now it's just I mean, any fan that wants to know about their team already knows it. So
I was talking to Goldbrick yesterday, who's always in his cab, and he's always monitoring all kinds of content because he's kind of a sicko for the SEC. And I said, Goldie, what are you hearing new this summer? I like to ask him that because he gleans all these shows, and he'll make a note or take a note. And he's like, Tony, there's nothing out there. And his observation is that college football needs to do better with that from that regard, Matt. That this closed society that we have in college football doesn't really serve. For instance, Matt, how much have you heard about Joey football in the run-up to this thing? The 6 or 7 weeks he's been on campus?
Very, very little. But see, I think part of that plays into why we don't hear much, because I'm not sure the coaches even know what they have because of all the roster turnover. There's just so much newness, and you just don't have a lot of veteran players, and especially veteran players who have played in games and what you're going to get. I think there's a lot of coaches that don't know a lot about their teams right now, which is part of this era we're in.
I asked yesterday, we dropped a YouTube video late last night, and I want to encourage you. I'm going to link it on the blog for tomorrow, but I want to encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe now. You're going to see content from me, from Matt, from Brian, from Bino, from all of us eventually as we unload this thing and get it offloaded. But here's the point. Robert Kowalski and I talked for 38 minutes yesterday. He is the odds maker of VIP play. You will find it time well spent. One of the things that Robert Kowalski talks about, I start out with this. Robert, how come I'm able to look up a line for basically any NFL game this season that I want to find, but I can't find it for college football? And he said, it's two different markets. In the NFL, we know the rosters. The models are run. We know who's where, even though there's free agency in it, but it's not. It's a thimble compared to the sea that is college football. And then Matty said in college football, he said, once you think you've got a handle on it and you have it figured out, like he was talking about, because we went through the lines for the Tennessee game, and you'll see it, and we spent some time on it. Like I built some graphics for it and all that stuff. So I'd encourage you to check it out. It's really our first foray into a video that I spent time on. I'd like to get your feedback on it if you want to check it out. But, I mean, a couple hundred folks already have, but we just kind of, we just sort of throw it up there. But like and subscribe that page. Share it with your friends. Help us grow. Please. Matt, one of the things he said, though, is in the transfer portal era the last couple of years, it's taken them a good 4 to 5 weeks to figure out what's what, and they're constantly having to adjust each roster. He said, and you know what? At the end of the day, we go on based on what we see. You cannot go on modeling in college football. You have to go on what happens on the field in front of you, Matt. It's really interesting if you stop and think about it. And in his mind, you can really get an edge on the books if you know what you're doing early on, because the books, it takes them a while to catch up. It's pretty interesting. And we talked about a couple cases last year, like obviously Florida State's an example, but there were others where power ratings wise, they had to change from the beginning of the year, Matt, from what they thought each roster had to like the end of September. Lines would swing like 8, 9, 10 points, Matt. And these are people that do this for a living. So, and they're using modeling and all this other stuff, that you were talking about. If they're doing that, Matt, imagine just the normal fan out there that's not coming at it from that perspective, just how mind-blowing and how hard it is to get a handle on major college football. And then you put that in a Tennessee context today on a Woolly Tuesday. Why not Tennessee? Why not? Why not? What do you all think? And then we'll go to the phones.
So has it been always harder for them to put out college lines in the summer, even before the portal era began? Has it always been easier to put NFL lines out there like that going back years?
Yeah, because the NFL game, those teams are a lot closer to each other. College, there's such a discrepancy. Because I asked him, I said, "You guys are the only sports book, in the state." He goes, "Well, we're the only ones crazy enough to do it." He goes, "You're assuming a risk on our part," and he basically said it's like it's risk management. It's a really, really interesting conversation. We talk about how lines are done, and then we talk about like what it means. We talk about the 2 coin flip games with the Vols, and the point he makes is, as an odds maker, you look at the Oklahoma situation and you say, okay, well, you got a new quarterback, you got new receivers, you've got a new offensive coordinator. He said, do any of us know how this guy's going to perform? Do we know if he's going to be healthy when the Tennessee game comes? He said, they tasked me with putting a look-ahead line ahead for that game. He said, I'll tell you this, we're constantly adjusting these things in college football, constantly revisiting them. It's pretty interesting, Matt, isn't it? And it seems like you're trying to hold water in your hand there when you're trying to quantify what's going to happen in college football from week to week.
Yeah, you just have no clue. There's a lot of volatility in the college game to begin with just the disparity in talent and then the scheduling dynamics. So it's always been much harder than the NFL, and it's probably harder now than it's ever been. I mean, Tennessee's Tennessee and Syracuse is a great example. 2 teams that went 10-3, but made quarterback changes after the spring.
Yep.
I mean, you literally have no clue what either of those teams are going to look like at all. And you don't know which offense is going to look good in that game, or neither of them. I think it's a really good example of this. And it's specific to Tennessee. I mean, we have no clue what Tennessee is going to look like offensively in that, and really defensively too. But I mean, Syracuse led the country in passing last year, and now they've got a guy from Notre Dame. You just have no clue what you're going to get from either of those teams that game. It makes it really fascinating on one end. But it's also from a modeling and gambling perspective. I mean, it's just a total crapshoot.
No, and look, I'm looking for information anywhere I can get it. I got an email from a guy the other day. I'm not kidding you now. This is what we're doing. He says, Tony, I'm at Topgolf a week or so and a half ago. I'm not going to use your name. But he says, I want you to know we were at a bay right next to Joey Football and some of his teammates. And he called him Joey Football, so kudos to you for doing that. I ought to send you a copper card for that. By the way, Friday's show, we're going to be live down at Calhoun's in Lenoir City, which I'm going to tell you something. On a summer night, summer afternoon, the marina down there in Lenoir City is an incredible place. We played music down there Thursday night. That is such a beautiful, beautiful, but I mean beautiful spot. Beautiful spot. You feel like you're on vacation when you're at the marina in Lenoir City. You really do. So he says, you talk about this Joey Football guy's confidence, and he said you talk about how you keep hearing that he's really cocky, which is the one thing I really do hear about him, is that this guy, when he walks in a room, let's put it this way, he ain't afraid to swagger into a room. He said, Tony, that's exactly what I saw when he was interacting with his teammates. He said, you did not, from him, get the Nico, I'm soon gonna leave you vibe. You did not get the Nico Nerf ball shrinking violet vibe. He said you could kind of see that the guy was carrying himself like he was already kind of a leader. And listen, here's where we are. We're in a desert. Okay? I'll take a little glimpse of something anywhere I can get it and share it with you. Now, I don't know what it means. The guy saw him at Topgolf. I mean, that somebody will, like one of my detractors, which I don't know why I would have a detractor at this point, since I've proven myself to be perfect down through the years. But hey, that's your world. You're living in it. Because I am pretty flawless on here. I'm here to tell you this Nico Nerf ball did not project with a quarterback vibe. Matt, will you go along with me on that? He did not have whatever that thing is that these quarterbacks have. He did not have it.
Zero team chemistry offensively.
Zero,
and that's what it looked like.
No doubt. And this kid here is out there hanging out with his teammates. He's not hanging out with his nation of 3,000. Because when Rapper Andy came on here and told us the guy had 3,000 family members, then it made total sense to me. Brian, how could you possibly have time for your family when you got 3,000 family members you got to take care of? And how quickly could 3,000 family members, Matt, go through?
How many Topgolfs would you have to rent out for that?
I don't know what the capacity of Topgolf is, but I'd imagine they'd have to go in shifts.
They need 2 Topgolfs.
And do like a luau out there. And what's the thing where you put the string up or the thing and you try to dance under it where you bend your back?
Pinata?
No, Brian, that's a...
Luau, that little stick. Limbo
yeah,
stick.
what's it? Limbo. The limbo.
Oh, okay. He was a pinata in some games last year. Well, I mean, he was.
Well, he was. We're going to come back on the other side. I want to hear from you at 865-200-5402. Tell me why you're woolly on this Tuesday for the Vols. Let's get woolly on here. And then, at some point today, I want to visit with Matt Dixon. Listen, who's a big winner in the Major League Baseball draft? Tennessee. Tennessee's a big winner. LSU won the national championship. Tennessee emerges from the draft as the it team. Did you see Jay Johnson the other night on television? Because I didn't. Did you? Because I saw a guy in Tony Vitello who owned the moment. Not only did he own the moment, but he completely and totally dominated the UFC event Saturday night in one crowd shot. One crowd shot. A glassy-eyed Tony Vitello in, and I'll just say this as somebody who likes to play music, in one of the coolest musician hats I've ever seen in my life. And that complete maroon will still not tell me where he got his hat. But I'm going to tell you this. When he appears Thursday, we're going to flash some different pictures up on the screen. I'm going to make him look at them because he's got kind of a Johnny Guitar Watson vibe going for him. Lamby sent me some Johnny Guitar Watson photos, Matt, that I will share with you. And I think Tony Vols is trying to cut a Johnny Guitar Watson vibe. Maybe, who would he be in a Hollywood sense, Matt? He looked like one of those Hollywood actors from the 90s. Like a Keanu Reeves, maybe. Can you guys, Bri, can you see that? The Keanu Reeves look he had the other night going? Do you see that, Bri?
He looked like the guy who used to be behind the home plate at Dodger Stadium with the radar gun.
Hey, Tony B listeners, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds, a UT grad bringing Knoxville a better way to raise money. We roast premium coffee fully branded for your team or cause. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% to local needs. Let's win on and off the field. Visit gradeagrounds.com to start your winning fundraiser today.
Living Vol fan, we're on the countdown to kickoff, and that means you need to make sure you are game ready. Head to Alumni Hall to get this season's Tennessee sideline apparel. Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, and more. Shop top brands for the entire family. Hats, Yeti, tailgating gear, and so much more. If it's for the Tennessee fan, Alumni Hall has it. Spend $150 and get $10 in Hall cash rewards. Shop at alumnihall.com. Download their app or shop any of their locations in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, or the Tri-Cities. Alumni Hall, the ultimate shopping destination for Vol fans.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club teams start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we're the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high-character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you, not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range, and if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery, so you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from B. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
It's a Woolly Bully Tuesday, and I'm feeling pretty woolly, and we try not to bully here. So, Josh Heupel goes today in Hot Lanny. We're going to open up our TLD Logistics hotline online at tldlogistics.com if you want to get in the mix and in the hunt with us. And in the hunt and in the mix, Matt Dixon's in the house, who wrote today over at tclub.team a terrific report on how Tennessee baseball, you could not have had a better draft if you're the Vols. Brian Hartman writes today a message of hope, a message of love for the living Vol fan regarding the Florida series and the fact that many of you that are punting on the opportunity of winning in Gainesville might be missing the forest for the trees. Because Brian Hartman says that Histoire is on your six on your side. Don Dare.
One more thing. Let me add one more thing.
All right.
The schedule makers have given Tennessee a golden opportunity this year with that, with what they've done to Florida schedule-wise and what WLM pointed out last week. And Tennessee needs to take advantage of that.
Now, Brad, do you still want to compare Tony Vitello to that old Cuban guy that sat behind the damn Well, where did that come from, Matt? What are you going to do with this Brian Hartman character, Matt?
I mean, he kept it within the sport, but I'm not sure there's another person on the planet that would have made that comparison.
The guy with the Panama Jack guy, is he the guy, Matt, that found Fernando Valenzuela, or am I imagining things? Let's go to the phones.
Hey, Tony Vitello finds talent, so, I mean, there's another comparison.
When's the last time you think Vitello used the radar gun? We could ask him that Thursday.
Well, I know one thing. I'd rather him use a radar gun than a weather radar. No offense. The weatherman, Vitello. I'm going to ask him when he's going to fill in for, since they've got the contract with Channel 8, go over there for Heather Haley in the morning, Tone. I'll tell you one thing, Matt. Hey, if I'm planning an outdoor barbecue and it looks like rain and Tony tells me the coast is clear, I'm canceling my barbecue. What do you think that Thompson guy over there in that Auburn dugout was thinking when Tony Vols, Matt, had that Doyle kid out there pitching that night when the lightning was popping all around that stadium?
I imagine he was shocked.
I love me some Tony Vols.
To sling his bat up against the fence.
Tony Vols
up against the netting.
Tony Vols is used to being such a force here. He thinks he can push Mother Nature around. You got from one hard-headed Italian person like Laura looks at me sometimes and she goes, "What are you doing?" Oh, blah blah blah. I'll go, "I'm doing." She goes, "But you know that's not going to work, right?" And I go, "You don't know that." She goes, "No, you know it's not going to. Why would you do that?" 30, you ought to see us. We're like a we are like a one of those reality TV shows, me and her, behind the scenes. But she gets to deal with a very hard-headed person. When I get things in my head, I'm going to do it. Tony that night got in his head, we're playing this baseball game. There's no doubt that's what happened. And I love you, Tone. You're my guy. Let's go to the phones. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air on a day where Tennessee meets the depressed at the SEC Media Days, and we've got total team non-coverage today. We're talking about the schedule in years to come. We don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to be different. They certainly are going to get away from some of these games that we're used to, these series we're used to, and we're giving you a choice today. Either Vanderbilt or Kentucky. You choose either Georgia or Florida, and then give me a reason to be woolly. Hello and welcome in. Let's get our first call in. You're on the air.
What are you doing?
Hey, Philly, welcome in, buddy.
How you, Matt and Brian, doing?
Holding it down, brother. Trying to stay cool.
Well, before I get started here, I want to ask Dixon what's going on down there at West High School.
Dixon, what's going on at West High School?
I'm a little far removed from that. Are you referencing the football coach deal?
Yeah.
I'm not. I have no idea. That's a bad situation, obviously, but I'm not sure.
Matt, that seems like a thing. That seems like a good thing to be far removed from at this point in time, by the way. But go ahead, Philly.
Oh, that's for sure. Tony got the wolf line. It's pretty cool. Don't even have a quarterback, but with the wolf line, I like that.
Yes. Don't even have a quarterback. That's right, Philly.
And you look at our schedule, I mean, it's a favorable schedule. Like y'all been preaching here the last couple of weeks. Now, there's the key. Are you going to be able to beat Florida or Alabama on the road to get in the playoff?
Philly, I don't ever remember, and you go back longer than I do, I don't ever remember a time where Tennessee's had 2 consecutive seasons with schedules this easy. And I guess the reason I say that is that generally we've been one of the schools down through the years when country wasn't cool that would play teams in the non-league. And it wasn't for lack of scheduling. I mean, Tennessee scheduled a game with NC State, who generally is a lot better than they were last year. They bottomed out last year when they appeared in our schedule. They were dreadful when we started the season with them. And then this Syracuse team, and I was talking with this Robert Kowalski, the interview that's over there up on our YouTube page at Tony Basilio show. Syracuse got picked apart like a carcass, Phil. in the spring. I mean, they got a new quarterback, like Matt was saying, but they lost their best offensive lineman. They lost basically all their best offensive players off a very dynamic offense last year. So we really have no idea what they're going to look like. And they're a 2-touchdown underdog to a Tennessee team who has a quarterback that just walked on campus, Phil.
Yeah.
How easy is this schedule, man?
Your question about Vanderbilt or Kentucky, I just flip a coin. I'd probably pick Vanderbilt because we recruit Nashville, and it's good to go down there and clean Vanderbilt's clock in our own stadium.
You know what, too?
That's a really good point. Really good point.
And Nashville still remains a big city of commerce for the Brandon Parks of the world. So that'd be another reason to choose Nashville. Plus, our listeners in that area that maybe don't get to come here to see a game, get to see a football game relatively inexpensively when they renovate that stadium, Phil, and add a few exits to it, which is what they're doing.
Want to put in new restrooms in it.
And some new restrooms. While they're at it, maybe they'll add a couple porta potties near the outfield in baseball. But, you know, Phil, at the end of the day, this thing is the Kentucky game, though, guys. Matt, the Kentucky game has been an intriguing series down through the years. Their fans are kind of comical in football. I would hate to give up the Kentucky football series. That's a lot of fun. I'm kind of split on that, Phil.
Yeah, because in all honesty, it's Tennessee's biggest basketball rivalry is Tennessee and Kentucky. So kind of weird, isn't it? I mean,
I totally agree with that. And the football series down through the years, those games have been relatively close for the most part, haven't they? I mean, there have been some really good.
Yeah.
And the Vandy games, Matt, for the most part, those games are kind of a snoozer if you're going for the on-field thing.
Yeah, some of the Kentucky games have been intriguing.
Yeah, the Kentucky games are at least. What about Florida and Georgia, Philly? Those teams both came on the schedule in the early 90s, 30-plus years of playing those games. Where are you on that, Phil?
Honestly, you just figured Georgia being closest to Knoxville, and it's a natural rivalry, but we haven't played that much. But I'll take Florida over Georgia right now because right now Kirby Smart's in his 40s.
Yeah, 50-ish, yeah.
Or whatever. He's probably got another 15 years in him. That's automatic losses every time we go up against him. And Florida right now, since Spurrier and Urban Meyer left, they're a mediocre football program.
That's Brian's point. Brian's point is if you take Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow, or Spurrier away from them, they probably don't hold the place in the league that we do, Phil. In fact, they don't. They don't hold the place in the league that we do. And I think that if you're honestly looking at where Tennessee fits into the 16-team deal, I'd say Tennessee in any given year in this modern SEC is going to be, like last year, anywhere from 3 to 6 to 7 or 8, depending on what kind of year they have. But that's Tennessee, I think, will be an upper division team in the league.
Well, I hope they are, Tony. I still the offensive line might end up being the strength of the team if you really look at it. Wholeheartedly, but we still got question marks at receiver, quarterback. I still even think running back's a question mark.
The one thing about Josh Heupel is, though, and Rusty made this point yesterday, they always, it doesn't matter who's at running back, you're always going to get great production. Now, I would love to see a top-flight, 5-star type of running back in this offense just to see what it looks like. Yeah. Just to see. And, you know, we were talking about that Genty guy, which is kind of a lazy thing to say, but think about this, Matt. What would a Genty, if you got him into the second level of a defense schemed constantly, how many yards could he run for, Matt? 3,300? How many could he go for in this offense? And I'm being serious here. Could he get 2,900 yards, Matt, out of this offense?
You could probably get between 1,500 and 2,000 easily, I would think.
If you left him out there against some of the Crip teams, though, Matt, he could run for 400 yards. But go ahead, Philly. I'm sorry.
One more thing, Tony. This Thomas Henderson, this freshman point guard, is he surprised?
Yes. He's surprised. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen on there they're talking about putting him and Gillespie in the game at the same time, kind of like Chandler and ZZ. That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and because they felt comfortable with the shooting tool that Gillespie brings to the table. See, the Israeli two guard that they're talking about adding to Phil. This whole thing with Tennessee Hoops is interesting because it looks like they have an incomplete team unless you get a surprise like that. And this Henderson guy to this point has been a pretty good surprise for them. The other surprise, Phil, is this big kid from Alabama. They did not think when they got him that he was going to be able to play right away, and they now think he's going to have a role in this team.
Well, this will be the deepest they've been in the post since, I guess, Jerry Green and ball players inside.
Yeah, and it's not just size, Phil. It's size and skill. Because I'm going to tell you something. The Phillips guy has really taken a step, according to people I talk to. They are blown away by how far he's come. And I'll remind you, he's a pretty damn good athlete, Phil.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to build on there. The kid from Ohio State, another year in the program, another year a little more comfortable. They're going to be very formidable. If this team, Phil, can find some consistent outside shooting, they've got a pretty high end.
Tony, the Vitello been down there for that event in Nashville. I also saw where Vanderbilt's football coach and baseball coach was there too. It's kind of cool, you know.
Well, they sure were, but I'll tell you this. Neither one of those guys, neither one of them, look like my guy.
Was James Franklin busy?
Tony, you're sick of it, this Tony Vitello. It's funny, though. See you.
See ya. I don't know what Phil's talking about. Something in my brain just pops when I see Tony Vols, man. Something in my brain just pops. Tony Vols has a really interesting dilemma now with those two veteran outfielders. And the thing about this show is we've never been afraid to talk about elephants in any room. And those are certainly two in his room, Matt, aren't they?
Yeah, with the roster constriction and I mean, it's a tough deal. They've already had to make some tough decisions, regarding, especially pitchers, and some of their signees. So no, it will be interesting to see how they navigate all that, with two guys who were solid for you and first year starters. Despite not having a lot of pro potential, could still be really, really good college players. I mean, we saw it. Hunter Ensley, he took that next step this year, and built off the heroics in Omaha and had easily his best years of all, and that was very valuable. But you just don't know where they are roster construction wise, and so no, those are tough decisions that the staff will have to figure out.
By the time Tony jumps on,
you hate that people get squeezed in all this, but unfortunately, that's where college baseball's at, and especially this offseason, is probably going to be the worst one of it.
By the time Tony jumps on with us on Thursday, Matt, we should have a pretty good idea of where things are, and we'll have Tony on with us off the top on Thursday's show because I would imagine the next couple of days they're going to have discussions with some people. I just don't know how to ask that question, man, because I don't want to be. But you got to ask that question, don't you, Matt? You have to ask that question, right?
Yeah. And there's still a chance one or both of those guys sign a free agent deal and just go ahead and go pro.
Yes.
There's really not a whole lot of difference between, a free agent deal versus being a late round pick like Cannon Peebles. It could work itself out that way. You just never know, but you have to ask it. But you maybe you don't specify those two specifically because it's a numbers crunch across the roster. But those two guys are interesting, and they kind of probably had to know this was coming, that there was a chance they could get drafted, but more than likely they weren't. And how you're going to handle that. Now, I'm sure they've had internal discussions about it.
Sure.
Because we've had Bargo and Chapman on the show, and they talked about how much they love being here.
Oh, they're great
and
kids.
how when they weren't playing, they never thought about leaving.
Yes.
So I think there's probably been a lot of open dialogue between all parties. So, but you just hope it works out. Whatever's the best situation for each. You hope that does work out. So, but
you think
it's tough.
Someone with NIL connections would step up to the plate for those guys? Would they command much in that regard?
No.
The roster limits.
I wouldn't think.
No, Brian. They're
not in the NIL deal. It's the 34-man roster.
Yeah, those guys don't hold any cards, Brian, which is kind of what we're talking about. Those guys, if those guys are back, it'll be because... Well, I'm just going to stop myself. But no, that's not even the point. The point is, do you even have space for them? Or even more to the point, and I hate to say this out loud, but do you want to just turn the page and let some other guys have their time? It's an unenviable position that you're in as a coach. Tony's not alone though, because I'll remind you, COVID changed a lot of things. One of the things COVID really did is it brought college baseball into full color and high definition. Because now it's an older sport. The 20-round draft and cutting I think it's 40 teams. I think 40 is the number. That's a lot of jobs.
Minor league teams, that is.
Yeah, that's a lot of jobs. And not getting dramatic about it, but what it does is it forces, if you want to continue your career, it forces a lot of guys to play that fourth year in college. Hey, this Henry Ford guy is a good example of that. In the old days, you had a 40-round draft. He gets drafted somewhere, and he has a decision today. Right now, what's his decision? Sign pro ball for peanuts? Come in here next year, rehabilitate yourself, get under Josh Elander's tutelage, and turn yourself into maybe an Andrew Fisher. And I don't know if he has that kind of high-end ability, but that's sort of what we're talking about, Matt. But with these other guys, it's, do I want to go sign for peanuts in the bus league, since I'm unattached to an organization, and get an opportunity? And a guy, listen, you don't bet against any of these guys. I mean, these are highly competitive people. But at the same time, you're almost damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you hate to turn people away. And like Matt said, the thing about both those guys is, and we had both those guys on the show this year as part of our Rather and Kittrell Capital Management Champs Wednesday. Those guys were are both, Tony kept using the term really good teammates. Like he was talking about the Gage Wood guy that the Phillies drafted the other day, and he said, hey, he said, don't worry about this guy. This guy will do anything you want. Hey, Matt, there's talk the Phillies might fool around with him in their bullpen in the second half of the year, because they need help. They might give him an opportunity. That's crazy, isn't it, Matt? It's happened before. The Reds did it with Mike Leake. It's happened in the past. Throwing guys right in.
The White Sox did it with Crochet. Granted, I think that was the COVID year, and he had, I don't even think, pitched for Tennessee, so the arm wasn't there. But no, I think he could be a reliever right now and at the big league level. That's where he kind of was for some of this year because he had some arm injuries.
Yep.
So he wasn't fully stretched out, and really he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his arm from this season, unlike Doyle, who pitched a career high by, I think he doubled the most he'd ever pitched. So I could see that. Wood would make more sense pitching this year in the big leagues as a reliever than Doyle and especially Cade Anderson.
Who was the kid who played in the College World Series and then a few months later played in the real world in the Major League World Series in the same season? Was that, I think, with the Royals that year? He was with TCU and then the Royals drafted him.
That's a good one, Brian, because I do remember that.
Mike Leake, I think, played in the College World Series and then was in the big leagues, starting a month or two later. I don't know. Yeah. TCU, I'm not sure who that would have been.
Mike Leake played.
Alex Gordon was with the Royals and played for Nebraska. I think when Van Horn was there, he might have done that. I don't know. That's a good question, Brian.
Back to our busy phones we go. Let's do this. Let's do a quick legal, and then we'll keep some calls coming.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
So it's hour number 2. That's SEC Media Days today. Let's go back to our phones and get our next call in on your TLD Logistics phone lines. Hi, you're on the air.
Well, hey, Tony, Matt, Brian, it's Taylor. How's it going?
Hey, T, welcome in.
Hey, Tony, I don't think we have a roster problem in baseball. There's a thing called Designated Student Athlete, DSA, that was due July 6th, which is crazy. The NCAA always lacks logic, reason. Why that would be due before the draft, I have no idea. But as a designated student athlete, you don't count against the 34-man roster. You are able to transfer with impunity once the DSA portal transfer time opens up here in the next few days. And I count it as, Tony, if you do the math, we've got 17 returnees, and that's counting Bargo and Chapman, and there's a good chance that at least one of those guys is going to sign a undrafted free agent contract. We're down to 10 portal transfers in. That's counting it's everybody. JUCO's all in. So that puts our roster, you add 17 incoming freshmen. We have several on there. There's no doubt that we're going to DSA them. That's 44 on the roster, and that's worst case scenario, again, counting Chapman, Bargo, 17 returnees, 10 portal, 17 incoming freshmen. If the administration will allow Vitello and staff to have 10 DSAs, problem solved.
But if you have those guys on your team, right, you have to play them.
You don't. Absolutely not, Tony.
You don't?
They can get scholarships. They don't count against the roster. They can play. You can add them to the active roster. This is the House decision not to penalize these student athletes that are the class of 26 that would have been cut based on the roster restriction of 34.
But what I'm asking,
so it's with impunity.
Yeah, what I'm asking you though is that if you carry those guys, right, you're going to feel compelled to play them.
Why? You have a conversation with them, Tony, and you say, "Look, you're our last 5 freshmen based on coming into the roster. You're our last 5. No offense, but that's the reality. You're ranked 500 in the nation by perfect game. You're ranked 480 by perfect game. Based on the roster restrictions, we would have to cut you. We value you. We don't want to do that. We'd like you to be in our development program. Mm-hmm. Would you consider being a DSA? You are likely going to be a redshirt and not play, but we think a lot of you, there's a chance you could get some playing time. Worst case, you're going to be helping add some bodies so we can do inter-squad practice in the fall, and then we'll revisit your sophomore year." This is big boy baseball, Tony. That's the conversation that needs to have. We need to DSA a bunch of folks. 6 is the most I've seen out there so far in D1. We could do 10 and cover it and not even bother with 4 difficult conversations. That's 44, Tony. It's not that difficult.
But if you bring those seniors back, right, is my point. You bring Chapman back, you got to play him.
Well, you have a conversation with Chapman and Bargo and say, look, we had talked. Your intention was to go for the draft. We all thought you were going to be drafted. The pundits, national pundits, thought you would be drafted. You were not. We'd like to. We value you. If you're willing to compete for a spot, we'd love to have you back. We're not guaranteeing you anything, but if you want to compete for a spot, if you're the best, you will play. If not, be prepared for a veteran bench role. And guess what? That's a hard conversation you have to have. Bargo is so versatile. He can play both corner outfield positions on a pinch. He can play both corner infield. He can even catch. That's a veteran bat. He was third on the team in SEC batting average, second most home runs in SEC play. You take him back in a heartbeat. Chapman is a very high-level defensive player. He's streaky. I could see him coming back and batting 300, but I think you give the opportunity for those guys to come back. You, with DSAs, hopefully, again, that we put in enough by July 6th, unless the NCAA comes to their senses and says we're going to open the window because of the draft. Problem solved. These are tough conversations, but these are big boys. It's big boy baseball. That's what needs to be done, Tony.
Well, it's interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing, man. Matt, were you aware of all that, the DSA stuff and the July 6th deadline and all that?
I've heard the term, and there's like Taylor's obviously looked into it a lot more than I have.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about it. I mean, I don't know. It seems like that's not what the rules for is.
Right.
A guy like that, Tennessee would try to do in this situation. So I'd have to look into it a little bit more, but I'll trust Taylor that because he obviously has researched it and has looked into it, not just at Tennessee, but at other places. So, I don't know. I mean, that would be a way to work it out. I mean, if Bargo and Chapman come back, I think they're your starting corner outfielders. I don't think that's the question here. The question is whether you have a roster spot for them.
Back to the phones we go. And my question is, do you want to do that?
Or do you want to give those spots to someone like Henry Ford? Would it take away some of his?
Not Ford, but let the young kids play. You want to let the young kids play. That's the thing. It's an interesting
these
thing.
Young kids, I kind of look more forward to seeing some of them.
I'm just being honest here. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Hey, y'all. This is William.
Hey, William. Welcome in. Did you make the SEC Media Days?
No, I'm home watching it.
Darn it, man. Darn it.
My dad doesn't want me with strangers. I can't trust him.
Didn't want you with Gold Brick Joe?
I mean, he is a good caller, but we don't know him, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Matt, did they make a good decision? Did the Pop make a good decision? Because, William, how old are you?
13.
What do you think, Brian? You think Gold Brick Joe driving him down to Atlanta today was a good idea or no, Brian? What do you think?
I'm not sure driving anybody down to Atlanta is a great idea at any time, given the kind of traffic they run into.
Atlanta, oh no.
What do you think, Matt? On the Gold Brick Joe front.
Yeah, Brian's got a good point about the ATL traffic, but I would trust Gold Brick.
Goldie.
All right, so they just got done with Georgia.
Right.
Which means Kirby Dumb was on there.
Did he say anything interesting, William? Give me a full report. William is reporting now on SEC Media Days for us. This is what it's come to. This is total team coverage.
I wasn't watching when it was Kirby Smart.
Very good. I like hearing that.
I didn't want to hear it because I don't like Georgia.
I wonder how his driving academy, which is under new ownership, is doing. Matt, I hear he has an all-new drive. Poor Kirby Dumb. I saw where Georgia just got another
name on it. Stetson Bennett Ford.
They just got another 5-star tight end, Matt, which is all they needed. They're stacking 5 stars there.
Well, it wins them the Tennessee game every year because we can't cover those guys. They put 3 of them out there at a time and pre-snap motion them, and they're wide open every year against us.
Interesting.
And they're going to bring on Hugh Freeze.
His name, Bry? Roger, the late, great Raj, called him what, Bry?
I think it was Hugh Furs.
I thought it was Herfuse.
Or Herfuse. It could have been Herfuse, but I think it was Hugh Furs.
Do we think Hugh's playing around the golf while he's in Atlanta?
I think Hugh's counting his money, man. I think he's roached.
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. And he's got the health problems too. And I mean, let's be honest. When you do the preacher Bible man thing, like he did, Dabo does it too. But once you get exposed as being a fraud in that, it's hard to recover from that, like, totally. And I think that probably plays into this some as well. Heck, he's never going to be that coach again, because once you get exposed, that everybody kind of thought was fake anyway, but once it gets totally exposed, it's hard to recover from that.
Yeah, when he was a young dude, man, he was ready to roll, boy. He was a really good coach at first go around at Ole Miss.
Yeah, and at 1:30, they're bringing on the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Heupel.
What do you want to hear out of Josh Heupel's mouth today?
All I want to hear is just something good. That's all. I just want to hear something good.
You're going to get something good from him, because every time he says something, something good occurs, in my opinion.
Like to most, it might not be the best thing, but in my opinion, it's one of the best things I've ever heard.
No question, William. I couldn't agree more with that. You're bringing. Did you watch a home run derby last night? Play right in your backyard?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you missed a great show with Tennessee Connections, Matt. How about it? Todd Raleigh last night stole the night. Really, Todd Raleigh's son, Matt, stole the night, didn't he?
Yeah. The big dumper won the deal. Had his other son was the catcher there. So
that's a kid that stole the night.
A really cool moment for that family, and I can't remember if they have Atlanta ties or not. I think they do. And had a lot of family and friends there. So that was kind of fun to see. The home run derby is still kind of a cool event. I mean, when you have guys just launching balls like that, it's always fun to see, even if the stars aren't in it. But I'm glad for Cal Raleigh's one of the. I mean, obviously he's having a breakout year, but one of the better catchers in the sport. A really good locker room guy, and it's good to see. I don't mean this in a harsh way, but it's good that Todd Raleigh is a much better father than he was head coach.
Hey, listen here, I mainly don't watch the MLB. The only teams I do watch in the MLB are the Atlanta Braves and New York Yankees.
Those are two excellent organizations, man.
They play each other this weekend.
Yep, you need to get down there to that. In fact, I can get Gold Brick Joe on the line and get you a ride in.
Wait, who is it at?
Where's the game, Bry?
They play at Truist.
Yeah, you need to get
Friday,
down there
Saturday,
for that
Sunday.
with Uncle Bino. But Uncle Bino, he won't even be there because he's going to be like in, I don't know, BF Egypt playing softball. Clown. But you're the man, William. Well, hey, I need a full report from you tomorrow on what you hear out of Heupel, okay? So take some notes for me.
All right.
See you, brother. Full report. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
My friends and compatriots, I need to take William over to the Bleak House. He can't live down there in the South and pull for the Yankees.
Interesting.
Guys, first of all, Tony, I love your talking about Tony V being the weatherman. I've got a suggestion you might want to ask him about Thursday. Instead of having a Lukey dome for this weather, how about we put 10 giant, like 200-foot lightning rods up to catch all the lightning, and heck, it might power John Wilkerson's booth and a few popcorn machines.
Well, you know what's weird is that, Matt, it seems to be a baseball thing where football games, if there's lightning within 1,000,000 miles, like we see these delays, right? There is no doubt that when you go to a baseball game, because a buddy of mine went to one in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and he said there was lightning all around. He said, I remember you describing that a couple years ago in Philadelphia. Because me and my brother are sitting there. We're in the lower bowl in Citizens Bank Park in Philly, and lightning is popping all around us, and it was a getaway day, and they just played the game. And it was like, you want to sit out here, you sit out here. These guys are playing. They just played the game. Matt, you described it that night at UT that it was visible. There's no way they're playing a football game like that, Matt. I mean, it's really strange, the approach with baseball, Matt, compared to what we see in football.
Yeah, they're overly cautious with football, and in baseball, it seems like it's – I'm sure they're cautious in places, but it seems like it's more up to, like, the discretion of the umpires or maybe the coaches, because we've seen them play with lightning around. We've seen them play in just downpours where it's obviously affecting the field and gripping the ball, which is a safety deal. So no, it is interesting because I think they went overly cautious with the 8 mile radius, especially for football.
Oh.
And in baseball, it seems like they're a little bit more lax with that. So it's a good point. But yeah, there's sometimes you'll be playing with lightning just throughout all across the sky, and then there are other times where you see a delay when it's like literally sunny outside.
A weird deal, W. Lynn.
Yeah, it is, and I guess in baseball it's an 800-yard radius. I'm with you on that, but I kind of used to like watching the softball celebrity all-star game, and that was on yesterday at 1. And that was the most pitiful thing I've ever seen. I only knew 3 people out there playing.
Oh, for the baseball, softball celebrity deal? Uh-huh.
The celebrity was like people call social influencers and some musicians I've never heard of. Jenny Finch was there. She's a regular, and T.O. and Sabathia, or however you say his name. That's the only 3 I knew. I mean, they used to have some people from TV and comedians and all that,
Brian, did you watch it, the celebrity softball game, Brian?
I didn't even know it was being played.
What? You got to be kidding,
It's on
Brian.
MLB Network at 1 o'clock yesterday. It was awful. You didn't miss anything.
Brian, I knew they had something like that, but I just didn't.
Brian, here are the guys that played yesterday, the guys and girls. Capital One Bank guy, Brian. You know who that is?
No, I actually was more interested in what Clark Lee was saying.
C.C. Sabathia played. Dasha Polanco played. Matt, are you familiar with her? From Orange is the New Black. Dasha Polanco. Butch Jones stars in.
I will probably recognize the face.
Butch Jones stars in Orange is the New Gray. Some guy named Drewski played, who's a social media influencer, comedian, and actor. Are you familiar with him? Brian, what about Eludio?
Video with Roll Tide Willie.
What about Eladio Carrion, a 7-time Latin Grammy-nominated rapper and singer? Familiar with him, Brian?
Never heard of him.
L. Duncan played, Brian.
I could be a social media influencer in my next life.
Hey, Brian, L. Duncan played, Brian. Familiar with him, yes or no? L. Duncan?
No, I've never heard of him.
Funny Marco played, comedian and social media personality. Matt, are you a Funny Marco guy?
Never heard of him.
Harry Douglas of ESPN, former Atlanta Falcon player by way of Louisville. Jake Storali from John Boy Media, co-host of Talkin' Baseball. Are you familiar with Jake? Is Jake the guy that voices the videos, Matt, on John Boy?
I don't think he's that guy, but I at least know who he is.
I love John Boy. Jenny Finch, the beautiful Jenny Finch. Let me say this.
I know who she is.
I love her, yeah.
Jenny Finch's husband played for the Smokies. She spent a season and a half up in Sevierville back in the day, W. Lynn. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
She
I knew
was there
she
every
married
home game.
a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah,
I think he made it to the bigs.
She was there every home game. Jerry Lorenzo, founder of Fear of God. Are you guys familiar with Jerry Lorenzo? A guy named Jay or JIO, a 3-time Grammy-nominated rapper. Who's familiar with him? How about Jordan Childs, a 2-time Olympian and gold medalist? Childs, things are going to get easier. Candy Burris from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I bet Titans Bill was watching yesterday. Candy Burris out there.
She's on a list.
Maria Taylor from NBC Sports. She does never seem like a real pleasant person to me. Michael Kelly, an actor known for House of Cards, Special Ops, Lioness. Are you familiar with Michael Kelly, Matt?
Yeah, from House of Cards. Yeah, I know.
I watched Lioness, but I didn't recognize him.
How about Mike Towers, Myke Towers, a 6-time Latin Grammy-nominated singer and songwriter. Myke, Mike Towers. Natasha Watley from USA Softball. Nikki Cass. Are you familiar with Nikki Cass, Matt, who's an influencer? His photo they have at MajorLeagueBaseball.com is him sticking his tongue out sideways. So, Prince...
I don't feel so old now. I thought maybe it was just because I'm so old.
No, Quavo was there, though. The rapper Quavo. Ronnie DeVoe from Belle Biv DeVoe was out there. Ronnie DeVoe looking good. Ronnie DeVoe, you're looking good, man. Bostonian. Storm Reed, an actress from Euphoria and The Last of Us. Brian, are you familiar with Storm Reed? Terrell Owens was there.
No, I'm not.
We know T.O.
T.O.
Wizen was there, a 2-time Latin Grammy-winning rapper and singer. Hey, a lot of Latins, Matt, just like in the home run derby last night, Matt. A lot of Espanol was spoken last night, if you watched that.
Yeah, there was.
And Javi Lopez was the manager, one of the managers, and Jermaine Dupri, with his Atlanta connections, is another. There you go, W. Lynn. Man, I'm sorry I missed that after seeing some of the celebs that were there.
Well, don't. You didn't miss a darn thing. I'll tell you. It was. I tell you what, Roger would have been an all-star out there. They couldn't even throw it to first base. I mean, it was pitiful.
That day you had your event, and we let Roger hit his home run, and that day that Bino had that brain donor out there that threw that ball 100 miles an hour to first base and almost took Roger's head off.
Gosh.
Because he didn't get the memo, W. Lynn, was one of the craziest things.
That.
And the ball, the first baseman wasn't even paying attention because he knew Roger was. We were all in on it. Everybody but that brain donor shortstop was in on it. And he threw the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour. It hit the screen about 20 feet off first base. That's how hard he threw it. He threw a seat over there. That could have been an all-time bad moment.
Yeah, and that fence, chain link fence was rattling.
It was rattling. W. Lynn tells no lies. Matt, if you would have seen that, Matt, would you have laughed out loud? Because it was wild looking.
Yes, I try to picture that every time it's brought up on air, and I hate that I missed that.
It was unbelievable. And that's when Joe Lee later that day blew a lad out in the outfield going for a ball. Our team was going hard out there, Billy Jarvis. Billy Jarvis is a hell of a coach. Our team went hard.
Carver asked me if GQF really ever played softball. That's the way GQF looked out there.
When GQF went back on that ball and he backpedaled, and the ball hit him right on the top of the head. It was one of the greatest moments.
To film that. I wish we'd had that all on film.
W. Lynn, thank you. If we could do that all over again, if we had to film that play, those two plays for posterity's sake, I could have retired.
Imagine how many views they would have on your YouTube page.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. So we continue with more after this, more calls.
Hey, Tony B listeners, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds, a UT grad bringing Knoxville a better way to raise money. We roast premium coffee fully branded for your team or cause. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% to local needs. Let's win on and off the field. Visit gradeagrounds.com to start your winning fundraiser today.
Living Vol fan, we're on the countdown to kickoff, and that means you need to make sure you are game ready. Head to Alumni Hall to get this season's Tennessee sideline apparel. Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, and more. Shop top brands for the entire family. Hats, Yeti, tailgating gear, and so much more. If it's for the Tennessee fan, Alumni Hall has it. Spend $150 and get $10 in Hall cash rewards. Shop at alumnihall.com. Download their app or shop any of their locations in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, or the Tri-Cities. Alumni Hall, the ultimate shopping destination for Vol fans.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Fired up, focused, and prepared. We're going to have a summer celebration. If you're going to be in the area, we'd love to see you at Lenore City. We're going to be at the marina from, during our show hours. So come on out, eat some lunch, talk some sports, Steve Russell. But that'll be Friday at Calhoun's at the marina in Lenoir. We're coming to your cité, Lenoir Cité. Let's go back to our phones on a day where it's all up for grabs. We were talking about, today is Tennessee Day at Media Days. And obviously the one thing that'll be addressed is Nico. I expect Josh Heupel and crew just take totally the high road. Well, what are you going to say? We wish the kid well. Wear the white hat, man. The guy walked out on us. The guy we have now has really been studying. They're going to pretend like it's an open quarterback job. Like Sean Sinclair said, and he's right. They're going to pretend. Here's the deal. You're paying this guy $1 million. Now, do you really think that's an open quarterback competition? I mean, let's... Matt, do you? I mean, I'm not going to pretend that it is. Should we pretend, Matt? What do you think?
Probably not. But I don't think Aguilar had the the stats and the stature to where you could just hand him the job and it went over your team. I think he does have to earn it a little bit.
You're right about that.
It sounds like he's either already done that or well on his way to doing that.
Mm-hmm. And look, you hear so little about him that I was sharing that one of our listeners saw him at Topgolf. And he's been kind of out in the community. And I've heard good things about him, but what I hear from my source at Tennessee is the guy is extremely cocky. Like, he kind of walks it, and he's got a complete, I keep using the term vibe, for lack of a better word, but he's got a different countenance than the quarterback that preceded him. And look, we're all different. Everybody's going to approach things differently. We all have different makeup. The thing about him is, and the one thing that Matt gives me hope on this Woolly Tuesday, and this is what we're doing, our theme is Woolly Tuesday. The thing that Matt said that I love is, and Watson believes this too, is the skill set that he brings. This is really an offense that kind of sets him up for success. With his skill set, he's got the ability to throw the long ball. And he has the ability to create a little bit. And the bugaboo for him has been the turnover. And Matt made the point a few weeks back, and this kind of has hung with me, that Josh Heupel's offense kind of takes that away. It's sort of the genius of Josh Heupel's offense. I'm going to get big plays without the tremendous turnover risk, because I'm not going to ask you to do things that you're not capable of doing. And this kid's kind of a freelancer. So somewhere in there you can marry the two. It's going to be a matter of what they want to add with him, what they want to take away. I don't think, though, that it'll be a restrictive offense for him. I'm kind of hopeful that he can be a great story. And I think all of college football is cheering for him. That's the other thing about this guy. I think all of college football cheers for this kid. Because Nico really, in this deal, and I don't know whether it's fair or not, but this is what we do in our society. We say, that's the hero, that's the villain. That's the baby face, that's the heel. And in this case, Tennessee's the baby face and Nico's the heel. Whether that's fair or not, because the truth always lies somewhere in the middle. And my dad taught me at the dinner table, when they would gossip about things, everybody gossips. So-and-so's getting divorced, blah, blah, blah. My dad would go, hey, listen, it takes two to tango. Which is one of my favorite sayings in life, because guess what? It takes two to tango. So I'm sure Tennessee's not perfect in this thing, but they do wear the white hat. To the phones we go on your TLD Logistics phone line. Hello and welcome into our next caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. It's Dave in Ackworth.
My main man. How you doing, brother?
Doing fine, man. Hadn't got a chance to talk much lately, but work keeps me busy. But
always a pleasure. I wore one of your knee braces the other day. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice, man.
Oh, good deal. Good deal. If you need anything else, buddy, just let me know. Hey, I'm going to go back to a conversation you had a little bit about the number of games and things like that. I didn't get a chance to call in and give my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, 8 or 9 in the league. Go ahead, yeah.
8. Well, I'm going to say if it's 8, we do 7 games with one common opponent every year. That way, and that common opponent needs to be Vanderbilt because it's in-state. And, why would we not want to play Vanderbilt if we're going to play them every year? If we're going to play one team every year, it'd be crazy. I mean, come on now. Let's talk about wins and getting in playoffs here. It's in-state. It makes the most sense. And the 7-1 format gets, in a 4-year period, you get to play every team twice. And every time in a 4-year period, you play one of those games at home and one of those games on the road. So it gets you in every stadium in a 4-year period. And as opposed to what we're doing now, which Georgia still hasn't seen A&M. We've played there one time, and it's just crazy. And I think that makes the most sense. And then in a 9-game schedule, you play 3 common opponents. You have 6 rotating games. You get the same thing. In 4-year periods, you get two. You play everybody at least twice. And for me, the 3 common opponents in that scenario would be Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Alabama. Again, why would I not want that? Why would I want to play Georgia and Alabama every year?
Hey, Ackworth, would you do me a favor and email that to me? I would love to feature that and kind of write on that and ponder what you're saying. Here's the thing that we've got to all come to grips with, that I've already come to grips with, is college football as we knew it is faded away or fading away. I do think there's going to come a day where Tennessee and Alabama aren't going to play. I mean, I don't see any way around that. If they stay with 8, how are they going to do it? How are you going to rob Peter and pay Paul if you're going to stay at 8?
The best way to do it is the 7-1 format, because that gets you playing every team at least twice in a 4-year period, and you get to go to every stadium at least once in a 4-year period. That's much better than what we have now. And here's the thing, Tony. If Tennessee and Alabama love that rivalry so much and they want to play that rivalry so much, play twice as a non-conference common opponent. It's been done before. It's been done in the ACC.
Wake Forest does it. Yep, Wake does it with, who is it, Bry? North Carolina?
North Carolina?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
yeah.
Hey, Matt, what about that?
Alabama every year, it won't count towards the conference. Those games may be even more fun.
That's a great idea. A non-league Alabama game would be wild and crazy, and it would still matter. Matt, does what Dave's saying, what he's laying down here, if you stay at 8, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it does. It makes probably too much sense. And I really like the play everybody and everywhere in 4, and I really valued that and used to really think that the way you should go. But I mean, we're in a day and era where nobody stays at a school for 4 years. So it's really only for the fans that you're doing that for. I still think there's value in that. And I would prefer that be something that mattered. But no, I think he makes some really, really good points that probably make too much sense for the NCAA to even think about.
But Dave,
the SEC.
Well, to your point, Matt, that we lived in such a time of tumult, and Georgia goes today. Those Texas A&M fans have never seen the Georgia Bulldogs play in their stadium. Now, anybody listening to me, does that make any sense? This has been 15 years now. Does that make any sense to anybody that could be the case? I mean,
Tony, my son and I chose to go to that game in 2016.
Right.
For one reason, and that's because under the current format, I was going to be like 70-something years old before we went there again. It was going to be literally my only chance of seeing them there. And that's just insane.
It's idiotic. I mean, they're not in your league. You can pretend we can pretend all you want that they're in your league and that they're in Georgia's league, but they're not in Georgia's league. I mean, what are you doing?
No. And give Bino credit. What he says is 100% true. Add 4 teams on the western side of this deal, and turn it into 2 10-team leagues, and you get your original conference back. Would that be the best thing? Absolutely. And then go to 9 games and play all other 9 teams in your side of the conference, and don't even play the other side. And I would love that. I think that would be awesome to play that schedule every year, same schedule every year, just home and away. But Tony, going back to my thought about playing Alabama non-conference, how awesome would it be in the 2 years in that 4-year span we don't play Alabama, we open up with them at the beginning of the season in Mercedes-Benz?
Let's freaking go. Matt,
how cool would that be?
Opening the season with Alabama as a non-league game, Matt. How next level would that be to keep the tradition alive? I love that. I don't like that idea. You just tricked my brain right there. I love that idea, man.
Well, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead, Tony. Y'all have a great one.
Please email me. Please email me that. I want to blog on that, but I want to make sure I get the particulars right. The concept of a 7+1 and your 1's Vanderbilt, and it gives you the variety of playing a cross-section of different programs, fan bases, experiences. I mean, what is this if it's not experience? You know, I think about our shows at Calhoun's on the River, and I think about all the fans that get to travel in to a destination like that and get to experience that on a Friday, and just a different, just different opportunities that our fans would have as well, road trip wise. Matt's right. It makes too much sense. It'll never happen. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You are on our Tuesday edition. It is Josh Heupel and Tennessee Day at the SEC meetings, and we've got total team coverage.
Hey, Tony. It's not Sam in Nashville today. It's Sam in Halls, Tennessee.
All right, my man. How you doing, brother?
Good. Yeah, I'm sweating. It's hot, but otherwise doing pretty well.
Gets a little warm in these parts, I would say. Yes.
Yes, sir. But yeah. So thanks for running that thing on the website today.
Man, you did a really great job of presenting that, and you did a really nice job of tying it all together. So thank you for that. I hope you'll consider blogging with us, man.
Yeah, I think the next one I was going to touch on would be the Tennessee rushing attack over the Josh Heupel era, because the reason for me talking about the offensive line initially was I just get somewhat tired of hearing the same thing from every different sports show. Well, they lost 4 offensive linemen. They're losing Dylan Sampson. They're losing this. But that's only half the story. It's what are you replacing it with? And do I trust Josh Heupel and his history to replace it with competent people? And so that's why I dove deeper into it. And so that's why the next one with the running game, Dylan Sampson was a great running back, no doubt, but the numbers kind of point to he got more opportunity than other running backs that have gone through Heupel's system in his Tennessee time. He had more carries.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but some guys went down, and you didn't have the number of backs to split the carries with. Matt, that's a fair way of putting that, isn't it? As the way the season unfolded.
Yeah. There was a drop off from Sampson to everybody else, and those backups had just lingering injuries. Yeah, it's a very fair point.
So it was one of those things where, and look, we're not diminishing Sampson. I mean, he's the SEC Player of the Year for a reason, and he had a really terrific year. It calls to mind what I was talking about yesterday in this YouTube video that we recorded over at our YouTube channel at Tony Basilio with Robert Kowalski. You know, those guys that do what he does, they've got to do this for every team, and they've got to somehow quantify, because Tennessee's not the only team that rebuilds an offensive line, rebuilds a defensive line, rebuilds a secondary. And so they have to project. But one of the things he said is you do have to consider like past history. And you make a really good point. Bino makes a really good point. I get on our offensive line coach for having never developed anybody out of high school. And you would say, Sam, that's a fair point. That's a fair point to say that. But the guy, when you give him the ingredients, is able to put together pretty good offensive lines, which he's done during his time here. So both things can be true there at the same time.
Yeah, they can. And, just some quick numbers on the run game. The 4 years of Heupel, 2021 was 217 a game. 2022 was the lowest, ironically, at 200 a game. But they had the most rushing touchdowns that year, which of Josh Heupel's entire era, 2022 was the most rushing touchdowns, which we think of it as the massive passing attack, but they had 40 rushing touchdowns that year. And then 206 for 2023, and then 226 for 2024. So it's been pretty average, around 210 a year. So with a variety of backs.
Hey, Matt, what do those numbers say to you when you hear it put that way?
Well, it's a run-first offense that plays off that. But no, and it's really kind of a plug-and-play deal. And, you've had some good running backs. You've had some good offensive linemen. But really, regardless of who you've put out there, you've been able to produce. And you run for a lot of yards.
Hey, guys.
Those numbers, it's a run-first offense that plays off that. And I think that was an advantage that Heupel could use early in his tenure, where I think teams have finally caught on to that now.
Which is going to be real interesting this year to see the little tweaks they make. But the thing about their offense is, if you can just get your fair share, hit your fair share of deep balls, it's still a borderline undefendable offense. But your quarterback has to make those plays when they're there. And the guy last year just for whatever reason wasn't able to do that consistently enough for it to be really effective. Talking about the passing game.
And they both play off each other.
Yeah, they do.
We had the massive passing attack in 22, and then coincidentally, the rushing yards per game went down.
Yeah.
But the touchdowns went up because
right.
You get to a certain point where you're so scared of it that Hendon Hooker could run all over the field, the running backs, whoever.
If this kid this year is able to hit his fair share of deep balls, we could be right back there with happy days are here again. Because that offensive line's gonna run block. You can just talk about looking at them. They are. What you wrote today, they have the makings of a pretty solid unit up front from that perspective. If they can figure out a way to make some plays downfield, we could have a lot of fun offensively this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was my main point of writing it, is just to kind of quell everyone's worry about how many people we lost going from year to year. And hey, 2021, we put up some points, and Heupel hadn't even met any of those people before that year. So
yep,
I trust him to be able to put stuff together.
Good, Brian.
How do the new linemen, how are they? You talk about them and their pass blocking and having not allowed a sack. How are they at run blocking? Because if this is a 50-50 offense, that may, are they as good at run blocking as at pass blocking?
I'm not going to say I know specifically how good they are at run blocking, but Wendell Moy, he actually pronounces Moy, is a huge dude, and so is Pendleton.
Yep, that's what I'm going off.
Actually slimmed down 10 pounds, but he's still 330.
Yep.
Everyone knows Brent Hubbs from WalkWest, but he recently said when these guys on this offensive line, they look the part, where they get off the bus and you're saying that's some big old dudes.
Yeah, that's why I think they'll be able to run block, because I think in this offense they don't really ask a ton of you from that perspective. I think they will be able to run block. By all of their lines have been effective there. To your point, I mean, in 2021 when they got off the bus and what they inherited, those guys were pretty effective. This is a run-first offense. They're going to get their yards on the ground. Can you make enough plays?
A lot of it depends on if they can get the tempo back.
Well, that's right. And that's where hitting big pass plays comes in. Because if I hit big pass plays on you, I control tempo. Now I can run up and down the field on you. I don't have to be afraid of my passing game. Last year they had to manage around their passing game. That's why I thought last year getting to a 10-2 record, even against that schedule, is still a hell of a coaching job. Getting to a 10-2 record.
It was, and it'll take something similar this year.
Sure,
with the new pieces, but they do have a lot of talent.
Yep.
They have a lot of players that, if things go right, can make plays. And, of course, everything's an if, but every team's going through that. No team has this extensive depth that people talk about. They don't have,
No.
We're assuming people are going to stay somewhat healthy.
The depth piece, and listen, Sam, I appreciate you, brother, and safe travels to you. He wrote a great piece today over at tclub.team. Brian has a great piece today at tclub.team, and Matt Dixon bats cleanup today on the baseball front. Really, really great blog up there. About 2,800 words. I said about 5 of them. So it's fantastic. And then we have a new YouTube video up with Robert Kowalski on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe over there. Tony Basilio show. We continue with more on our TLD Logistics phone lines. Maybe we'll do a little TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime as well as we continue after this.
Severe on the TLD Logistics hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Next week with your Knoxville Smokies is huge. Who's ready for Christmas? Well, good, because Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the whole gang will be warming up at Covenant Health Park on Friday. Wrestling night with live matches after the game on Saturday, and bring those kiddos out to meet Peppa Pig on Sunday. I'm Peppa Pig. Grab your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Knoxville Smokies.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Since 2001, Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been the trusted and preferred name for over 70,000 Knoxville locals looking for expert plumbing services and HVAC services, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. Voted best plumber in Knoxville and one of Knoxville's best HVAC companies 7 years in a row. Pipe Wrench is a fully licensed mechanical contractor and committed to excellence and craftsmanship, so you can trust our certified experts to go above and beyond to meet your plumbing and HVAC needs, no matter what problem arises. We also make it easy with transparent pricing, free on-site estimates for replacement, and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing when credit approved. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hey
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. TB back with you, 865-200-5402. Yeah, we'll do a little TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime. Get a few more calls in on this smoking hot day. Smoking hot blog today over at tclub.team with Sam, Brian Hartman, and Matt Dixon reigning supreme. Watson Brown's going to join us tomorrow. I'm curious to hear Watson's thoughts on the developments of media days thus far. And really the newsworthy item thus far from media day is that appearance by the commissioner. Of course, Lane Kiffin went out there and went for some cheap heat yesterday. Lane is the king of cheap heat, and I kind of like that. I'm a cheap heat fan myself. But Lane says a few things, and he just kind of stands out because he enjoys cheap heat. He always has. And again, I'm a cheap heat fan, but we'll get some more calls in. I like Lane because he has a personality. He's not afraid to mix it up, and I think he'd be a really good coach at a spot like this one day. I think he's grown up, but that's just me. In the meantime, we love you. We appreciate you. It's pretty incredible. Today's 2 hours just flew by. Let's keep the conversation going over at tclub.team. Here we go.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259 AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Lane loves that cheap heat, Matt. He knows, too, when he says things. The media just,
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Does Lane Kiffin bother you, Matt, or does he amuse you? Where are you on Lane Kiffin?
And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Does he bother you, Matt, or amuse you?
No, he amuses me.
How about you, Brian? How about you?
Yeah, he has fun with it.
Yeah, he amuses me.
No, he doesn't bother me one bit. I kind of, if he ever does come back here to coach, I'd vote that I could literally would rather hear him, even if he doesn't do it as an official press conference. I'd like to.
He's great.
Anytime he speaks, I would listen to it.
Yeah, he's just, the thing about him when he speaks is, you just never know what he's going to say.
He was that way when he was here the first time.
Yeah, and I remember he was very accessible to us when we had him on a couple times. We had him on out in L.A. If I invited him on the Mar, he'd come on. He told us when he was in L.A. it was the biggest mistake he ever made. Right before that year when he got fired, he said, leaving Tennessee is the dumbest thing I ever did. He said, that was the biggest mistake of my life. He said, it was utterly stupid to leave. And he was right. To the phones we go, 865-200-5402. I wonder in this transfer portal era, how many kids make decisions and they go, man, I should have just stayed where I was. Because that goes on. Things always look, easier over there. We all do that, right? And then you go somewhere else and you're like, oh, I'm just in a different place, but I've got the kind of the same issues. Such is life. 865-200-5402. Hello, welcome in. You're on the air. It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. Welcome in.
Yoshi hee ho, Basilio, what's going on?
What's up, my man? How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good.
Great to hear your voice, brother.
Grass is always greener till you get to the other side, ain't it, Tony?
That's what they say. That's what they say, man.
I'd take Kiffin back in a heartbeat now.
I think he's I think Lane Kiffin at a place like this today, with this portal, if you look at the way he's able to operate at Ole Miss, he'd be unbelievable at a spot like this. I'm talking about contending for national championships like almost immediately. But that's me. I'm just kind of telling you how I feel.
Tony, I kind of thought I was done with hearing all this talk about the 7-1, get rid of Alabama game. I mean, it's so stupid. Everybody said, yeah, it makes sense, but I says, to me, it's the dumbest damn thing I ever heard in my life. I mean,
well, he's preserving it. You're preserving the Alabama game if you go 7-1. Because you're
I mean, I want to keep Alabama for sure.
Play them as a non-league game. That's what Wake Forest and North Carolina do. They do it every year.
Yeah, hell, you know them greedy bastards ain't gonna play no non-league game, Tony. They scared to death of their shadow. They play 3 nobodies now. They ain't gonna play no non-league game.
You talking about all these coaches?
Yeah, they're scared to death.
I was told today by somebody, it's funny you'd mention that, I was told today by somebody in the college space that's in the middle of this who said they've given way too much power to these football coaches. That's the reason that commissioner is saying 8 games.
Yeah, the money, too, Tony, for these coaches is completely out of hand. Mm-hmm. We need about half a Heupel's salary back in the collective. No way in hell. $9 million. I mean, let's get real here, man.
You're exactly
right. What are we doing?
He's right about that, Matt. You're right about that. Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, if you're going to get rid of Alabama, Georgia, Florida, all these real Southeastern Conference rivalries, hell, just change the name, merge with the Big Ten, take the top 40 and call it the damn,
United States Football League. Look,
the JV League or whatever.
That is where we're heading. And I'm to the point now where I used to be like you, and it would really aggravate me and keep me up at night. But I'm seeing this for what it is. Here's the truth, Josh. Here's what they know. If they do these things, right, that you're talking about, if they went away from Tennessee and Alabama, people are still filling the stadium. Oklahoma and Nebraska no longer play, Josh. That was the game. The game. They no longer play. Nebraska still fills their stadium, and Oklahoma still fills their stadium. It's stupid. You're exactly right. It's utterly stupid.
I could care less about seeing Fayetteville, Arkansas, or start from Mississippi, or even Columbia, South Carolina, Missouri. I could care A&M. I could care less about seeing them places. As 90% of the fan base, I would say, could care less about it. I mean, you got the best product in college football. Why you keep fooling with stuff? I mean, yeah, you got to keep the major games. That's to me. Hell, I'd go back to 7 games. I'd play Auburn and Alabama and finish the year with Mississippi, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt like we used to do. And I'd like to play some damn good non-conference games besides NC State and damn Syracuse. Can't we play somebody good anymore?
Hey,
we play Notre Dame, damn Penn State.
I love those games. I love
Colorado,
that Notre Dame
number
series.
1 in the country. Play Georgia Tech.
Oh, the Johnny Majors days. Oh, God, that was so fun. That Pigskin Classic, that Pigskin Classic game with Colorado, that 1990 schedule, you talk about bang for your buck. That was an 11-game schedule. And on that 11-game schedule, you had a trip to a very good Auburn team that ended in a tie. You had Alabama that year, which is always a great Southern rivalry. You had that Colorado game out there, and I believe that game was played in like Pasadena, I want to say. Or no, it was played in Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. That's right. I stopped myself. It was you played that Notre Dame team that was utterly incredible. You played.
Who did we play in the Meadowlands that year, Tony?
Oh, no, that in '87 they played Iowa in the kickoff classic in the Meadowlands.
Yeah, I mean, there was always a big non-conference game, a real game, not this pretend stuff.
So you think the Syracuse game? Hey, Matt, is the Syracuse game a pretend stuff, or is that a real game?
Come on.
No, it's the pretend stuff.
Tony, Syracuse doesn't have a football program. I mean, hell, I went to Clemson and watched Syracuse and Clemson play.
Right.
And I'm not kidding you. Syracuse might have had 200 fans. I sat in their section and pulled for Syracuse.
Hey, Josh, nobody's gone to this game in Atlanta. They can't give tickets away for that thing. I don't know how many people are eventually going to be there, because what they're going to do is they're going to flood the market with cheap tickets, and people are going to – because you will hear people telling me this and on the chat boards, hey, the tickets are really cheap right now because they're going to flood the zone with those things before we get there. But that you can't – that's been a bomb so far.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I don't know. Watch it at home.
Yeah.
Grill me something up to eat, nice.
There you
get
go.
The big 70-inch TV going.
It's
and
been in a controlled environment too. That's a game.
Cold beer. I used to go to all of them, Tony, but I swear it's kind of like you said. It's the whole thing's a big turn off. The Nico thing soured me a lot. I mean, I'm still not. It's just sickening, but whatever. It is what it is. Hey, love listening to you boys. Y'all hang in there. See you guys.
I love you, man. And David Ackworth had a really good point about the 1-7, and he's got a really good point about how you're going to take Alabama out. But Dave didn't want to take Alabama out. Dave says let's play them every year. But you'd have to get both schools to agree to that. Look, Oklahoma and Nebraska went away. Penn State and Pittsburgh went away. The backyard brawl went away. Do they still play that every year, Bri? The West Virginia and Pittsburgh? They don't, do they?
I think they got maybe a 4-year deal that started a couple years ago, where they're playing home and a home.
But they went away from each other, right?
I think they're still playing this year, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
It really kind of sucks, Matt, that when I grew up, that whole Penn State-Pittsburgh thing, and I just describe it this way, because when I grew up, Tony Dorsett was there and Johnny Majors was just left that program to Jackie Sherrill, but I remember Johnny Majors when he was at Pittsburgh. Those games to those people, that thing back then to those people in that state was bigger than anything the NFL could produce. I mean, the air felt different on the Friday and Saturday leading up to that. It will surprise no one, Matt. My brother told the story on the air one day, but to those just found the program, when I was a kid, there was one game where Penn State was down 14-0, and I was over there on the couch just running my mouth at my brother, who's 10 years older than me. And he looked at me and he said, Tony, if you say another word, I'm throwing you outside. You're not going to get to watch. And Matt, what do you think I did? Do you think I shut up?
No.
I pushed his button.
You ended up in the yard.
And he picked me up and he threw me out in the yard. That's exactly right. He literally picked me up and carried me and told me, I warned you. And he was really pissed off about the game. And he threw me out in the yard and he locked the door. He locked the door. And I went around to the TV room window and I was screaming, let me back in. And my dad said, he warned you. my dad was sick of me. That's a house I grew up in.
Did Penn State come back and win?
Yeah, 42-14.
Well, then I guess he'd do that again if he had a chance.
Todd Blackledge was the quarterback. But when you get thrown outside in the yard, you remember a game like that. But what they've done to college football, and that not only has the sport survived, it's thriving and it's growing, is kind of disgusting. Because the game is so good, Matt, they can't ruin it. It's a lot like Major League Baseball. They've tried so hard to ruin Major League Baseball all that labor strife and all that money and all those strikes, and apparently they've got another one coming up here. They've got a big rain cloud coming with their collective bargaining agreement and where the sport's headed, but the game itself is just so good that they can't ruin it. And college football is so good. And it just does something to us.
By the way, Pitt and West Virginia do play on September 13th.
There you go. But they quit
at
playing.
Morgantown.
But they quit playing for a while.
But yeah, it went a couple of decades, I think, without playing.
Go Pitt.
865-200-5402, the number if you want to jump in. Games are just... And Josh can say, well, the Nico thinks Howard. Yeah, the Nico thinks Howard a lot of people. And I had a sponsor call me yesterday, and he said, Tony, are you noticing that people aren't as excited about this as they've been? And I said, yeah. Yeah. I've kind of noticed that. I said, and I don't believe Danny White is a 15,000 wait list, but I told him, I said, I do believe this. When the ball is kicked off, everybody gets back on board. Because it does something to you. You can't describe it. We look at a non-sports fan and we say, I don't understand how you can live in a world and not get into this stuff. Because it does something to us.
I think the baseball team playing into June every year has sort of given fans something to keep their attention on.
I think that's right.
I think that's part of it.
No, I think that's right. Back to the phone.
That might be the biggest part of it locally, yeah.
I think that's absolutely true, Bri.
I mean, everything you've said is true, Tone, but I do think from a Tennessee perspective, the baseball program being what it is, and we have fans who literally are now watching the MLB draft and refreshing their screens in the 18th round.
Matt,
think about how absurd that is.
No, it's ridiculous. And our level of engagement. See, the thing about this era, John Adams and I were talking about this. The thing about our era is we can tell right away how engaged you are in a topic. And John says at the paper, when they write something about baseball, it gets the engagement that Tennessee basketball gets. And when the baseball's blowing and going, it can get to football levels. Like we saw that. I'm never saying it's going to be like football. But that national championship when 40,000 people show up in your downtown square, it's pretty damn amazing. And a lot of people want to drink from that fountain, if you know what I mean. Back to the phones we go on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Tony. Hey, guys. How y'all doing? It's Richie.
Wow, again. We must be doing a good job, man.
Well, I've just happened to have time the last 3 days. It's crazy how that works.
Thank you, brother. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words earlier. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as angry probably about a 1-7 as previous callers, but yeah, the other reason I don't see that happening is it's not just us not playing Alabama. I mean, also mean Auburn doesn't play Georgia. It would also mean, Texas not playing A&M. I just don't think they're going to do that. We may stay at 8, but I think they're going to finagle some kind of way that we don't play. That we play Alabama every year.
Was it you? Was it you last week that said that the have-nots are just going to have to play a wheel like what Penn State's doing?
Well, I think the have-nots are going to play like their true right. I mean, they're going to play like one rival. I think like Vanderbilt will probably still play either Vanderbilt or Kentucky. I mean, Ole Miss and Mississippi State will obviously still play. I think Ole Miss and LSU will play, even though and I think, if you consider Ole Miss a traditional, power, I don't, but because they haven't been good in 60 years really consistently. But I think Ole Miss and LSU will still play, even though that's not because I still think that game has some gravity to it. But, we'll see. But as far as you're talking about being woolly today, it's not so much that I'm woolly about us. I just don't believe in anyone on our schedule that's very good. I don't know how good Georgia's quarterback is. I don't know how good Alabama's quarterback is. I know how good Florida's quarterback is, but I don't know about anybody else, anywhere else on their team that's very good. And, Oklahoma looks like they got a lot better in the transfer portal, but who knows? It could be like one of those Calipari teams that gets a bunch of stars and just doesn't mesh well together, and it turns into a disaster. I mean, they could just as easily be a Florida State of last year as they could be a LSU of 2019. So, yeah, I look at all the other teams, and they're going to be as bad or worse than they were last year. Kentucky's not going to be.
The Oklahoma and Florida games is another reason why I think you could be optimistic about that game for the Vols. Just the spot of when they play them. Oklahoma's coming off a grueling stretch, and they got to come to Neyland. And the Florida's coming off a month where they don't play a single home game, and they're coming off a pretty grueling season. So with a tough schedule.
I love this era, guys, because everybody can be woolly. You know it. I love it. It's as much as I curse the sport, this portal thing, like you could say, well, Tennessee doesn't know who their quarterback is. Yeah, but that's right. But Alabama doesn't know who their quarterback is. And LSU has a quarterback, but they're going to open with a loss at Clemson. So, okay, Georgia doesn't know who their quarterback is. They know, but what do we really know about him? Ty Simpson, who Tennessee's like a 2-touchdown underdog to, according to Robert Kowalski yesterday. And he says to me, Tony, I give you that line, and Vegas has that line, but we don't know who that kid is. Nobody knows. And then he says, hey, within 3 weeks, though, we'll sharpen our pencil. One thing he said is if Tennessee doesn't blow Syracuse out, Matt, he said, then you got to look at it and you got to kind of say, okay, well, what do they have on offense? That it's a real moving target in college football now, Richie, like it never has been. And it really makes it interesting to think about in the summer because none of us really know.
Yeah, that's the thing. None of us have any clue. We could be the bug just as easily as the windshield this year. But at the same time, I think everyone else is in the same position, and I think that gives me pause. And I think especially Alabama seems. There are some people that are being cautious about them, but a lot of folks are just like, well, this Simpson guy's going to be great. He's going to come in and they're going to win 10 or 11 games. He might be, but then again, he might not, and they could be 8-4 or 7-5.
I'm really high on Alabama. I'm really high on Alabama, but I don't know about Ty Simpson. I think he's got a great football team around him, and I think he needs to be. I think a fair statement to say is if he's an average quarterback in this league, they'll be good enough to get to a playoff. Matt, am I overstating that, or do you think that's an accurate statement? If he's just an average player, not bad, in other words, because Milroe at times last year was bad. Milroe got in the way last year.
Yeah, he did. If Ty Simpson is an average player, that means he's elevated to pretty good in that offense with those playmakers. So, I would agree with you. I just think Kalen DeBoer's a really elite coach, and he's got his OC back, who I think spent last year in the NFL,
Seattle,
who was with him at Washington. I just think, like, even if Ty Simpson's not great, he's going to be pretty dang good, and they probably have a backup that could step in if Simpson just kind of melts under the lights.
Yeah, Bama's the one team I'm going to buy, and again, I'm back to what you said, Richie. I'm going to go based off his history. Everywhere he's been, year 2 is a go year for them. The guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I know they play at Georgia. I will say that most of their tougher games are at home, but they got a couple of tricky ones though too. They got to go to both Columbias.
Yep.
And while Missouri is not great, they can circle Alabama on their schedule because they literally don't play anybody else. And South Carolina is a pretty good football team. If they're the same team they were last year, that's not going to be an easy game either. So they got to go to Athens. They got to go to both those places, and they get Tennessee at home. And I don't know. This year, I'm not saying that I think Tennessee is necessarily going to go to Gainesville or Tuscaloosa and win, but I would not be as shocked as I would have been in the past, just because I just don't think the talent differential is with Alabama as much as it was under Saban. And while I think Florida's like I said, probably better at quarterback. Everywhere else, I don't know how good they are. And I agree with Brian. Playing Florida late in the season is a big deal. I think that changes the dynamics of the rivalry a lot, because when it's early in the season, especially if it's in September, the whole fan base just kind of fixates on it. And I think by putting it towards the end of the season, you don't have you'll have already played Alabama, you'll have already played Georgia. Your season, you'll kind of have an idea whether you're a playoff team or not. And if you're a playoff team, you'll be confident going into that game. And if you're not, hey, you got a chance to get a big win and have something to put on your T-shirt or something for the end of the season. Hey, at least we beat Florida in Gainesville. So I think that's a really big factor too.
Thank you, Richie. Great talking to you.
We'll know more about our team anyway. There'll be reason to even be more confident or not as confident. We'll know more about Florida when they play them. So that could play in too.
The great irony is that in the 90s, those were the game of the century. That was the game of the year in the league. And the SEC did not have the foresight back then to move it, because they should have put it at the back of the schedule. Tennessee tried like hell to move that game to the back of the schedule. Fulmer wanted it. He and I were talking one time, and I was saying, to me, I don't understand. He goes, I don't either. We would love to move the game. And it's ironic because in 2001, they won the one matchup that was played at the end of the year.
And they won't have to deal with the humidity of September either, going down there.
Many, 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 many years. Many, many, many years.
And Florida would have to play in the cold weather, maybe a cold weather game here if they played in November.
That was Fulmer's point. Why would if we play them here, they would have to play in cold weather. If we put that thing, you know what they were told, Matt? We don't want to interrupt the Florida State game. It makes no sense.
Well, they've interrupted it now.
That makes no sense. You're talking about accommodating a non-league game around and back then for 10 straight years basically, they were the two best teams in the league. It never made sense. The other thing that didn't make sense about the SEC schedule back then, when you looked at how good those two teams were, and all it would have taken was one modification, was we've always been a conference. We still do this in our penultimate week where we're playing non-league games. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be building drama in your league, especially back then when it was a league of get to the championship game. And I mean, now you're in a playoff era. If you want to do that and take a week off in week 11, okay, that makes a little more sense. But back then, it made no sense. Playing that game early in the season, it just did not compute, and it does not compute, and it looks dumber. Through the history, through the lens of history, it looks it's silly. It's ill-fated. I'm going to worry about Florida State, huh? I'm going to worry about South Carolina playing Clemson. What? That just doesn't make any sense. It'd be like Michigan, Matt, and Michigan and Ohio State aren't going to play each other because Ohio State's got a game with Cincinnati. Does that make any sense to anybody? I mean, huh? What? That's what you're talking about. Or, how about this one, Brian? Michigan and Ohio State can't play where they play in their schedule because Michigan's got to play Notre Dame. Do what? But anyway, I digress. My friends at VIP Play want to remind you tonight's All-Star game. You want to have some fun. Brian, who's going to win the All-Star game tonight? Who you like?
Well, the AL seems to always win the All-Star game, so I'll go ahead and say the AL wins the All-Star game.
Hey, Bino, I got bad news for you, brother. the Americans stopped the Dominican dominance in the home run derby. Guys, how many Dominicans are there in Major League Baseball, Matt? When you watch the All-Star game, how that little island nation, how many baseball players are they producing? Is that not incredible?
Yeah, it is.
And they're great players. It's not like, oh, well, they're just producing. You know, they're producing all the stars. It's wild. At any rate.
And just think about all the ones that they signed, 16-year-olds that don't become stars or don't make the majors. There's still a whole lot of those that play in the minor leagues.
Exactly. You know what I don't understand?
Why is Vitello not recruiting
That's
down
my
there?
thing. I'm going to ask Tony that. How come I don't see more Dominican kids playing major college baseball? I don't want to take opportunities away from these American kids that are populating these teams in college baseball, but why I see international players in major college basketball all over the place. Tennessee's flirting around with an Israeli national right now. But you don't see as many, Matt, in the SEC, do you? Those Dominican kids. I was told,
no, you don't see.
Yeah.
If I had to guess just off the top, I would say the lack of scholarship, because they would have to actually pay for school, would probably be the biggest reason why it hadn't happened. Maybe that changes now that you can give full scholarships. There's always, when I look up for the tournament, there's usually a team or two that'll have an inordinate amount of Puerto Rican kids. Mm-hmm. So they're that specific school probably has some kind of program within the school that they can, kind of a loophole to bring those kids in. But it is interesting that there's not a lot of foreign players playing college baseball, but I would assume the scholarship and having to pay for school where most of those kids, there's no way they could do that would probably be the biggest reason. But it'd be something to bring up to Vitello. I'm sure he would have a pretty good answer on.
Why don't we?
Vandy probably got him into school though.
Vandy does have a couple of Vandy has some international kids. If you notice what they've done down through the years, the Dominican deal though, their hold on Major League Baseball, the 22-year-old kid last night that made the finals from Tampa's organization, he had a Dominican posse with him last night. And all those guys are all-stars. There was 15 of them around him. I'm going, hey, the Phillies, two of their best pitchers don't speak English. Christopher Sanchez doesn't speak a word of English. And Ranger Suarez, he doesn't speak English. And those guys are damn next level. I mean, they're unbelievable. The Sanchez guy is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, it's wild how many.
Do you think Ohtani knows English?
Ohtani?
Yeah.
I bet he knows the cuss words.
I bet he speaks. I bet he could speak English perfectly. But I just, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, kind of like.
But I love the interpreter type stuff. All this, it's just so fun to me. I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah, the guy last night is really good on ESPN. He says the question in English so we can understand what he's about to ask him, and then he's going blah 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 blah, and the guy's going blah 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 blah, and then you just have you got to take the interpreter's word for it. The UFC,
the big dumper didn't need an interpreter.
The UFC has an incredible interpreter that does their deal. He has the mannerisms and he does the trash talking when those guys. You know what? The other night, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, when he knocked that dude out in the first round, and he knocked out a 25-year-old kid that had come up through UFC's feeder program, their Ultimate Fighter thing. And basically, he went over and lifted his leg like he was peeing on the kid's corner. And they said to him afterwards, why did you do that? And he goes, well, they don't understand English. He goes, but I know they were talking all kinds of shit on me. He goes, but I don't understand their language, but I know that's what they were doing. So I wanted to do something that everybody's language understands that. A dog taking a leak on them.
Is that the guy that owned Vitello, too?
Yes. Yes, he disrobed. He threw his cup into the stands. He mooned Vitello. I mean, I don't know how you could unsee that, but let me get back to my friends at VIP Play. Ladies and gentlemen, your VIP Play welcome bonus can be yours. First bet, $5 or more. $100 in bonus bets instantly awaits. The promo code is TNTony. Look, there's a major in golf this week. There are deals to be had there. Also, 200 leagues, numerous bet types, props, and options. When it comes to tonight's All-Star game, as is the case with Major League Baseball, there are great deals to be had there in terms of parlays, and VIP has released lines for all 17 Titan games and all 12 Tennessee football games. So you can find out more with VIP Play. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over, everybody gets treated like a VIP at VIP Play, located in the state of Tennessee to bet. Let's go back to our phones, and we'll get our next call in. And I've got to get going because I've got an appointment, as I was telling you. Otherwise, I would stick around and comment on what Josh Heupel's about to say or is saying, or I guess he is saying it right now, but folks are still tuned to us. So let's get our next call in. Hello and welcome. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, guys. It's Nick in Amarillo. How y'all doing?
Hey, Nick. Amarillo by morning, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hey, when I'm not a Vols fan or a Vols graduate dad, I'm an immigration lawyer. So to answer your question about the baseball.
Wow, okay.
They can't do it because they're on F1 visas. And when you're on F1 visas, you have to show the U.S. government that you have the ability to pay for your school before you're given that visa. And when you're on that visa, you inherently are a student, so you can't actually make revenue. That's why Zach Edey was complaining and bitching a couple of years ago, because when being Canadian-born, he couldn't make that NIL.
So what they did, what Tennessee, my understanding is, like with Vesco, right? He had to go back home to get like a gift. And it's how they got around the NIL deal. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
It is. And then the tough part, so that's why you typically see it in basketball, because you don't have as many players, so you don't have as many issues. But in baseball, just because you have more players, you have more issues with the Department of State when you get into that F1 visa.
Wow, that's interesting. So that's why we don't see more of those kids, because it isn't because there's not a lack of the numbers, right? Those coaches would take those kids if they could figure out a way around that, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely, in a heartbeat. Yeah, because absolutely, that's why they just can't do it because of the numbers. Because you have to go through first, you get through Department of State, get through that certification, then really you go to USCIS, which is United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Then you go back to the consulate to get those I-20s, get all those visas in. So there's the workaround. The problem is it's just you're talking about a numbers game. You're too many are going to be denied. So if you hold out a scholarship for this kid, and now it's contingent on them actually going through 3 agencies to get approved.
That is really interesting. Thank you, my man. That's good information. Right on cue, buddy. We came to you right in time.
Yeah, but I just popped on. I heard Matt's on with Matt's on it in terms of the scholarship numbers, but it's just a little bit. It's that, but because of the other agencies that you're dealing with.
Matt, do you have any other questions for him in terms of the way the thing works?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And if you're going to come over here, you're going to come over here as a minor league player who's getting paid to play, which, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I'm glad you're listening to the show and called in to tell us.
Because there are no restrictions, right, on the professional athlete. You just have to get a work visa for that, right?
Right. They're on P1 visas, which is like professional. They're extraordinary athletes. So, yeah, that's where you see them with, like, each minor league club has, like, their own immigration lawyer. Like, for instance, the Amarillo Saw Poodles out here, we do some work for them as a firm because we have to actually handle their own visas. Whether it's the dugout coaches, if they want to get someone else, we have to do that. Like, even though it's under the Diamondbacks don't actually pay for that. We have to do it on the minor league level. So that's why you'll see, sometimes you won't even see as many foreign-born coaches within the minor leagues for that reason, because they have to do their own visas for that particular entity.
So you're telling me that these major league organizations, in some cases, leave it to the minor league teams to foot the bill for that?
Yes.
Wow.
Especially when it comes to the coaches and stuff. Yes. Now, when it comes to the players, their contracts are with the actual parent organization.
Right.
So they are the ones who actually own that visa. But when it comes to the minor league folks, like say you have we want to bring over a dugout coach here from Canada a couple of years ago, and we're going to have to foot that bill as the minor league because the majors don't, and the majors do not pick it up, and neither do the parent club.
Wow, that's really interesting because we are familiar, obviously, with the NIL restrictions on international players, which do come into play, and I do know that they had some workarounds. And I remember with Vescovy particularly, he'd go back home, and then they would get some money to him. So however they did that, I hope I'm not speaking out of school here. It sounds like you're familiar with that, though.
No, tell you what they're doing is they're going over there getting him paid overseas. That's why a lot of times, like when he was brought on, I believe we were playing an international tournament when he was brought on, so he could get paid for that tournament if they were to do that stuff as compared to here in the States. He can't get paid because they get an OPT, which is an occupational training EAD, employment authorization document, and you can only work 20 hours a week on campus while you're an F1 student holder. So that's what it is. They go get them across overseas, get them paid there, and then they get re-stamped up at the consulate as they come across from Customs and Border Protection, and then they can continue with their duration of status with the F1 visa.
Jeez, man, that's really, really interesting stuff. I appreciate you being there.
Oh, yeah, no, man. It's a crazy little world. The same way with, I know you're a rock person or a band person. The same thing with, that's why you see these tours. When they announce tours ahead, they're announcing them ahead, like from the States, and then you'll see them go to like Canada and then come back in. They're going to Canada to get their visa stamped to come back in, so that way they don't overstay their visas. And then they can. That's why you'll typically see them do some tours here. Some U.S. cities, jump across the border, get their visa stamped, and then come back in and finish up.
So that's why we see on some of these North American legs, they'll do a couple dates in Canada.
Yes, sir. That's what you're seeing. That's what they're doing. They're exactly going over there, getting their visa stamped as they come back through. They go to as they come back to Customs and Border Protection, and it starts over the clock again for their I-9.
That is so amazing, man. God, it's great stuff. Hey, I appreciate you listening to us.
Oh yeah, man. It's good. I love hearing you guys, man. I appreciate it. But we'll go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange to you. Thank you, brother. And beautiful Amarillo, where I'm sure it's probably, what, Matt, about 60 degrees on a July day? 65 maybe? I bet he hadn't seen 65 since
he's probably
mid-February.
Got a winter coat on.
Yeah.
It's dusty. I know that.
Well, boys, it was a lot of fun. I gotta get to a meeting, but I gotta really tune into Hypel. How about y'all, Matt? You tuning in?
I will check Twitter in about 30 minutes.
That's incredible. I mean, no offense to him, and I love him, and I'm rooting for him.
I wonder how many times he coughs.
It's a woolly Tuesday. And I'll do anything for love. But I'm almost to the point, quoting the great Meatloaf through the pen of Jen Steinem, but I won't do that. I love you guys. Thanks, Matt. Hey, Matt and Bri, great job on the blog today. Great job on the show. Thanks,
guys. Tone. Good job, Matt.
Love both of them individuals. Butchie boy. Till we meet again, I want to thank my friends at TLD Logistics online at tldlogistics.com for all your shipping needs. They've got you covered. And remember, their brokerage division, for those of you that want to move things around these great United States of America, they've got you covered like never before. Allow them to take incredible care of you. Online at tldlogistics.com. Really, really, really wonderful phone calls. And if I could, I'd stay on here for a long time, forever. It's like my brother Steve says, but we got to get going. And I got to get going. I got things I got to take care of. We're moving, we're shaking lakes and rocking docks. Till we meet again, peace. And go hype or go. And blow, blow, blow. Let's see here.
WJBE 10 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Turn this thing up about 30 notches, shall we? Josh Heupel's meeting at the press today. He will be, no question, scintillating, fun, incredible, a great date today. We will not be on the air documenting it. I've got to get out of here because I've got an appointment today. So, because there is business beside what we do. In fact, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We dropped a video yesterday. I want to get Dixon in. I want to do a baseball-only video with Matt Dixon regarding the state of play with Tennessee coming out of the draft. But at any rate, we ought to get Kendall Rogers at some point back on as well once this thing calms down. Tony Vitello is going to join us on Thursday, but it's a woolly. Today is a woolly, and I do mean woolly, boys and girls. It is a woolly Tuesday. Matt Dixon, are you feeling as woolly as Brian Hartman today? And the young fella from Nashville who's got our offensive line. We don't have offensive line woes, Matt. We've got an offensive line that's ready to dominate in the SEC. Are you joining them? Are you drinking from the font of woolliness today, Matt Dixon?
Not quite there yet, but I do think there's a really good chance that the offensive line is better this year than it was last year, especially in pass protection. But no, I think the drop off, despite losing 4 starters, might not be significant at all, which would be a really good thing for the program. I mean, you're going to run the ball really well.
Yes.
Pass protection was an issue last year, I thought, especially with your tackles.
Yes.
So we'll see. I mean, it's hard to envision them being worse in pass pro, but so I do think so. There is optimism there despite having to replace a bunch of guys.
Well, Lance Hurd last year and today Sam in Nashville, who you hear on the show. Last week he called in. And he had optimism and the reasons why. And I asked him, hey, man, if you'll put that on paper, I'll be glad to run that as part of our Tuesday coverage for the SEC Media Days. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we did. And he made a great contribution today. In fact, today over at tclub.team, if you check out our blog, it's about 2,800 words, and I said about 5 of them. Brian Hartman reigns supreme. Brian Hartman about the upcoming Florida series. Brian, your belief is that Ipping in November, because here we are. It's SEC Media Days. Tennessee is meeting the press. And your belief is that okay? In our own antiquated way, the show is saving right now, and so it's buffering as it's saving. Those of you that are still locked in on us, and you could probably hear me on my external speaker. I'm working on these walking bass lines things. I usually do that on an electric guitar, but. Anyway, it's boring. Oh, man. I got so much to do today, too. Oh. I got like 5 or 6 proposals I got to get out. We're working on some other stuff. I've got some 2 or 3 affiliate things I got to get done. I've got some crazy stuff going on here. Going away at the end of the month. You ever notice when you try to go away, especially when you own your own thing, but even when you don't, you try to go away and you got all this stuff you got to take care of, and then you're going, what am I going away for? Because, well, you go away because it's healthy to do that. All right, so let me turn the show back up.
and another loss occurred back in the 50s. So if the game is played in Gainesville all time, Tennessee is 3-0 in that situation.
See, when you erase Tricky Dicky, you erase World War I, and what was the other one, Brian? And you erase
the COVID season.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if somebody wants to capitulate and roll over in the fetal position at the thought of Florida, go ahead. But there's really no reason to, because
Brian's coming out slugging today.
When Spurrier's not there, or when Tebow's not under center, they're about the same as Tennessee all time.
Brian's coming out slugging, and they're white trash. So, Matt, yesterday we were asked, and I'm going to ask you, very interesting question from the caller Richie, who's another excellent caller that we have. He's called us a couple shows in a row, which, Richie, anytime you call in, it makes for great material. So thank you to you. And shout out to Sam in Nashville. Please keep blogging. We love it. Richie asked Matt, and I'm going to ask the listeners this today, in honor of SEC Media Day, in honor of Tennessee going today, and considering Tennessee's place in the new Southeastern Conference. Because, look, the one thing that we've learned is that the more things change, the more they stay